Hi pilots and co-pilots, Brian here. Today we're not doing any flying. We have the Baron 58 in front of us, and based on my experiences of a few weeks ago trying to do my first ever repaint, I figured it wasn't that difficult, and I'm pretty sure any of us out there with Flight Sim with Xplane 11 can give it a go. So I picked the Baron 58 for today because we all have that plane. It's part of our standard package with Xplane 11. So we're going to try and turn it from this, which is a default paint job that comes with the Baron 58, into this. And as you can see, it might not be perfect, but it's ours. We've just created it. And I think you'll agree that for 20 to 30 minutes work clicking around in Gimp or Photoshop, if you have Photoshop and that's much better at this, you can at least do something to create your own custom paint job so that the plane is truly yours that you're flying. So let's get going. We're going to jump over now and load up Gimp. I'm going to try and do this in Gimp, and we'll see how we go. So before I go much further, I don't know Gimp very well at all. I'm not a big fan, but we'll see if we can use it anyway today. The key things we're going to be using is this tool up here, the Fuzzy Select tool. We'll be using the Paint Bucket Fill tool, and some of the other things we'll be dealing with that we'll be adjusting the threshold when we're actually filling with paint, and also when we're using the fuzzy tool, adjust the amount we're selecting. So the first thing I'll go back to right now is that I found this repaint here. The standard aircraft livery that comes with the Baron 58 doesn't contain a blank paint kit for us, and somebody has greatly done that. Af Navarro has done that and uploaded that, and I used that. You download it, it's just a zip file that contains various different files that we can use to help aid a repaint. So let's go and look inside that download and you'll see what we get. So I've unzipped this to the default folder here, blank default Baron B58 XP11. So if we go into there, we have an objects folder. Then we go into there and we have all manner of files here. They're a bit small on your screen, so I just made them a bit bigger here. We can see there's various masks that they've used that we could use, but I don't know how to use them. The key things that we really need here are B58 wings.png and B58 fuselage.png. So we're going to take a copy of this file and this file, and we're going to create a folder under where our plane is stored and add that in to paint. So here I'm in the folder for my Baron 58. You might notice this isn't quite the default Baron, and I'll include a link to this as well. It's a slightly modified version of the Baron 58 where somebody's done some work adjusting wing dihedrals, fuel flow, aerodynamics and so on, so it flies and behaves slightly more like the real thing, and that's the version I use, but it really is based on the original Baron 58. But I'm in the liveries folder. You can see I've already created my own livery here, but we're going to create a new one, and I'm just going to call it example. Now we go into that folder, and I'm going to create a folder called objects, and in there I am going to put the fuselage and wings PNG files. So they're in that folder now. Now that should actually create a completely blank livery in the plane. So let's go into Xplane and see if that's done that. So I'm in Xplane now, and if I go up to here and I code out, look, there's an example now, example folder. It will come up with a question mark because we haven't generated icons. And I'm going to apply changes, and then you'll see it in the simulator. So here we are, actually in the simulator. Look at that, completely white Baron, a blank canvas, a blank canvas for us to paint on. So that's awesome. So we're going to take those files and start slapping some color on and see how it looks. So I'm going to right click on the file and open with Gimp. So here we have the two files up here. You can see we've got each of them there, and we can then now start pasting some color into them. Now the next thing I consider doing is you can maybe create a new image like that, 2048 by 1024, that would probably do. and you can start filling in with gradients. You can choose doing whatever you want with colors here. You can paste images in, text, you can create. So to explain why you can do that on here, why I've done it this way in the past, in the last few weeks that I've been doing this. So let's say, you were to pick like an area there, and I could fill it, like pick a red, maybe for an area down here. If I select a square there, I'm going to actually like draw a line there. Oops. Let's actually just minimize it, or I'm going to resume out a bit there. There we go. We can see stuff a bit better. So we've got white at the bottom. Let's not do white at the bottom. Let's pick hideous green. This is just to prove a point here, not a cool color scheme. So don't do that. Oh, good God, that's just horrific. But we're going to use that, okay, just for this example. I'm then going to maybe put a black line somewhere. So let's just select an area here. Okay, I'm going to select that, and I'm going to fill black. There you go. There's our hideous color scheme. So this is just to demonstrate how we're going to do this, but then I think we'll pick a better plain color after this. So I'm going to, one of the things I find quirky here is you kind of have to reselect to click off. Then I'm going to select this whole color here. Did that work? Control C. I think I've got that in the buffer now. So now we have our plane here. So you can see this is the right side of the plane, the underneath of the plane, the left side, the top, both of the engine covers there, the bottom, the fronts, and the air inlets there. So we can try and then separate off the sections and do it a bit at a time. So here we're going to select that. As you can see here, I've used this wands tool, and then I've selected this side of the plane. It doesn't quite select everything. So remember earlier I mentioned we're going to be looking at this threshold functionality. We're going to crank that up to maybe say 40, and then click on there again, and not quite. Try again. Nearly there. That's nearly there. I do find it doesn't seem to be as good at can I do feathered edges? Does that help? Maybe. So at least now it's got the area selected, that side of the plane. We're going to paste this hideous color into there, paste into. Boom, there we go. Nasty, isn't it? Then we can do that just under there. Black stripe down the side, hideous green underneath, hideous red on the top. Awesome. Right, that works. We've got a layer there. Right, let's go select the wand again. Let's do the other side. Okay, we're going to paste it into it again. Oh, it's going to be upside down, like the red's at the bottom, the green's at the top. So for that layer, I'm going to go up to transform, and I'm going to flip it vertically. There we go. Now we've got the same hideous green at the bottom and that lovely, lovely red at the top. Actually, they're both hideous. Who am I kidding? Oops. And so now we've got to just get that pretty much lined up the same. Again, I'm eyeballing it. I'm sure there's purists who would say you have to do this specifically. I'm not. Look at that. That's good. Right. Now I'm going to, oops, just click off that there. I find that's a bit weird, but there we go. We've got the color on the side set. If I do export as to that folder as PNG, export, do replace, we'll go and see, there we go, and export. That's simple. We've put hideous colors, but we'll go and see what that looks like on our plane. But look at that beauty, eh? Yeah, it's hideous, isn't it? I mean, but it does show you that that was, what, 5 minutes work? And you've already got a painted plane. So let's go and do a bit more, and we'll see how we get on with this. And then maybe we'll switch to a slightly nicer color. There you go. That's doing the simplest. Now, if I want to do the top and the bottom, we'll switch. So we're going to carry on in Gimp. Actually, the one thing I forgot to show you there was that was just neat painting, and we probably shouldn't have done it that way. So I'm going to do lots of Control-Zs and take this away. Now we've got the first one selected again. Let's paste that back in. Oops. Okay, now we've got this first side selected. We're going to paste this back in. Remember, we're going to have to do edit, paste into, and slide it down until we get it roughly where we want it, somewhere about there. But the thing is with this paste is that we want to make sure that the layer goes in, that it's not just, it doesn't write over all the detail. You want it to do called multiply, and what that will actually do is keep underneath detail to come through. So we do that up here. It's got mode selected normal. We change that multiply. Okay, doesn't seem like a lot, but it does allow like rivet details, dirt, and other things that might be on the standard model like we've got underneath here to come through. So let's just put those back on. I'll do this back in high speed. So they're just like the wonders of TV. Here's one I prepared earlier. I just jumped ahead on that. Now I'm going to select the top and hold shift down while I do this bit. Select that bit. Unfortunately, it selects some of these bits hanging off the side here. I'm not going to worry about that. Now I'm going to get my color picker. I'm going to pick red. So you can see here my color has now changed to red. And I am going to get my paint bucket. My paint bucket is going to feel normal. I'm going to change that to multiply. I'll change the threshold up as well to about 40. I'm going to fill there. I'm going to fill there. I coloured those things as well. I'm not sure what bits they are on the plane. We'll probably find out. They'll be red now. That's that done. Now we've got to colour the bottom of it. We are going to pick the wand again. And my threshold's quite high. There we go. It picked all of the underneath of the plane. And I'm going to pick my paint bucket. And we need to change the color first. Silly me. So we pick the eyedropper thing. We pick the lovely hideous green we've picked for the underneath color. Pick the paint bucket. And there we go. With multiply, it allows the original, the dirt as it were, to show through. Looks good. Fine, we've done that. Now I'm going to pick this again. I'm going to hold shift down. Pick that one as well. Okay, and then we're going to paint those. Oh, let's paint those hideous green too, shall we? I'm really liking that horrible colour. And there. Then I'm going to select the rest of the engine parts. Hold shift down. I think the rest of it. See, I'm having to click. Hold shift down there and select multiple, selecting all these areas. Right. Oh, I'm going to bring it down to a black. And I'm going to paint them all black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Missing a bit there. There we go. Black bits, green bits. That. Awesome. Looks hideous, doesn't it? So let's just export that. We already had a fuselage. We're going to export that. Yep, it's just saving that into my aircraft folder. And switch to the wings. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to make the underneath. I've selected one with my magic wand there. That's obviously just missing one bit there. Do that bit there. Oh, okay. Now, pick that. Get my eyedropper. Pick it off there. Get my paintbrush. Fill. Fill. So again, it's kept the stains, which good. Get my paintbrush again. My magic wand. Select the top. Hold the shift down. Select that side. And the rest of it's all going to be red. In fact, all the tail plane is going to be red. Okay. So I'm going to get my eyedropper now, pick red, come back. My paintbrush, again, it's still set to multiply. The threshold's about 44 on there. That seems to work quite well for me. We're missing a bit around the edges. It's going to have some white edges, this plane. Not as good as doing this in Photoshop. I might show you quickly how to do that afterwards for those of you that have Photoshop, but you probably need to figure out how to do this anyway. So there we go. We have that saved. So we're now going to export that. So that's the basics of it. Actually, what we could do is we could come over here. I could choose color. I'm going to choose black on the hideous wings underneath. A font, sans, that'll do. We'll do 80-point font. And I am going to type there, and I'm going to do C-L-F-L-W. Oh, it's gone down a bit lower than I expected. But there we go. We have selected, put some lettering on. I'm actually going to resave that just so you can see what lettering looks like on there. So you're going to need to do identifiers under the wing, over the wing, and on the sides of the body. So again, we go back to export, replace, and then a few seconds later we now have a hideously painted aircraft. Let's go and check it out. And there we go. Look at that. Isn't that just the worst aircraft you've ever seen? But we painted that. Now I do say that with let's just, yeah, like you can see from inside, we do have some color issues. We didn't quite select to the edges there, so we have some paint fade edges. I mean, it does make it look like a well-worn plane, but we could probably do with some more color going up under the engines there and around there. There's some white out, but it actually gives it kind of a battered aircraft look. It's not all bad, to be honest. We got that. You can't, of course, see the lettering underneath. Well, we can. We're going to cheat. I'm just going to bring up the map, click on my plane, take me up a few hundred feet, and pause. Kids, don't do that at home. It's terrible just abandoning your aircraft in the air. But so look at that. There we go. Our lettering got added. So that was quite easy. And I might win awards for the most grossly painted aircraft ever. Certainly going to be noticed, isn't it? So there we go. You see the different bits. The black on the front, the little black there for the air intake there. And we got our black stripe down the side. If you're smart, yes, you can probably figure out your map over points on the top and actually connect these up. You can see I've done a bit of a poor job on this particular one. That ends there, that ends there. So I'd have to go back and slide this down very slightly. It looks like I've got a little spot of green there, something I've coloured in takes that. And we've missed the nose cone off, which is just under one side of the fuselage. There's a little circle which you colour in. I should have done that in black. But that is as easy as it is. What did that take us? 20 minutes? And that's with me talking and messing around. I'm just going to do a quick one in Photoshop so that you can see just another example of how I might do this as well. If you want some fancier looking jobs. So now we're over in Photoshop. Same files. I've replaced the ones out of the Repaint kit back in again. And we have very similar tools here. You have a magic wand tool here. And we have paint. Well, there's a gradient there. Paint bucket there. We have an eyedropper up here for color. So very much similar tools. So, you know, using one or the other, whichever you're comfortable with, whichever you have access to. But I'll show you another thing I do for an idea for repaints, is that I come to my browser. In this case, I use DuckDuckGo because I'm trying to avoid a lot of the data things of Google and all the rest of them right now. So I'm being good and using DuckDuckGo, and I type in PC background lines, and look, you get all these interesting patterns and ideas. And seeing as you're painting your own aircraft, there's no reason why you can't just grab one of these and slap it on your aircraft to fly around at home. Of course, you can't release it as a paint kit or anything like that or a livery because, well, this is somebody else's image. But there's absolutely no harm with using some of this in your own flight at home, in your own aircraft. So that's quite nice, that one there. I like some of these. I'm trying to find one I want to pick that's going to look cool and on my aircraft. There's wavy lines, all that red swoosh is there. So I'm going to view the file. Down it comes, absolutely massive. I'm going to save that image and then open it in Photoshop. So now I've opened up this big swoosh into Photoshop. I quite like that. I'm going to, I think, crop it down. I'm probably going to take it that big. Maybe about that. And I crop it. And then what I want to do, actually, I'm going to undo that. I want to take this, like that. And then I'm going to rotate it a bit, I think. Actually, no, what I want to do is rotate it the other way. I'm going to level that up a bit. There we go. I quite like that. I'm now going to crop that square. I'll do. Nice. That's kind of a good graphic I'm going to use on the side of this. I'm just going to select the whole thing, Control C, and copy it into my clipboard. Again, similar to before, I won't do this all the way through. You'll be bored of this. There's a nose cone. If you're wondering where the nose cone is, it's just there. So there you go. Click on the wand. That works a little bit nicer in Photoshop. I'm then going to do paste special, paste into. Look at that. And now I'm going to shrink that down somewhat. Actually, I think that's going to work. If I put that line, you can either, so let's just select that along the bottom there, roughly. I'm going to bring that down to about there. Pretty cool, isn't it? So now I'm going to magic wand that. Oop. I need to, oops, select layer 0 again. I need to magic wand other side. I need to paste special, paste into. Again, just go back to bring the nose to there, scale to there. Just adjusting it down. I won't take too long on this. So I think that's about right. Yep, a bit lower. There we go. But you notice that's upside down, isn't it? So I wonder if I can transform it yet. No. This always takes me a while to remember how on earth I'm supposed to do this, but because I need to now I need to flip that vertically. There we go. Hopefully that's in roughly the right area. Bring that to about there. Little gap there. Okay, cool. I'm going to call that done. I'm now going to use my eyedropper. Pick the black there. Paint bucket. Fill. I actually forgot to paste these on as, remember to do multiply. I forgot to do that. Oops. So again, we're going to select all of that. Multiply. let's undo that. My tolerance maybe needs to be a bit higher. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, there we go. The underneath of the plane is done. I can now actually, I don't want to do all of that. I'll leave it unselected. Paint. There we go. The top of the plane is going to be black as well. There we go. Engine nacelle there. I'm going to select and actually I'm not going to do both at the same time. I'm just going to select one. I'm going to paste. Oops. See that? I did that wrong. Let's do paste special, paste into. That looks pretty good. Gimp, select. Oops, oh no, wrong layer. That Gimp, paste into. I'm not going to do too much more on this. Paste special, paste into. Different bits. They'll be painted differently and look weird, but oh well. I quite like those bright, vivid colours there. So let's quite like that. Paint that. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do that. Again, this isn't going to be perfect. I'm in a bit of a rush here. But now we've painted the body. Let's have a look at the wings. Let's just add that in. There's a couple of spots up there that don't look like they're quite. Yep. Oops. There we go. That's expanded that. Paint. Oops. For some reason it's not done that. Paint. Or there. There's now paint. And we'll do maybe a black for the rest of it. So you just bear with me for a moment. Okay. Now paint. Oops, a little bit's missed. Sometimes it doesn't matter because of the way the paint job is mapped over the aircraft. You might not actually even be able to see those bits. Sometimes you can though. So that's pretty rough, but I'm in a hurry here. So I'm now going to save those. Actually, no. I'm going to do something nice here. I'm going to get some lettering. Switch back to the side view. I'm going to, we've got Arial. It's not the best font, but it'll do for a demo. Pick white. And I am going to put some lettering on there. I'm going to do C. Ooh. C dash L F L W. But for some reason, I can't see that. Okay, there we go. I just moved the layer to the top there. I now have lettering on the side of my plane. Let's move that up there. Then I need to copy that. So I'm going to do Control C, select Control V. Oh. Let's try actually going over here instead and doing duplicate layer. There you go. All right, now I've got that. That needs to come to, no, you'd have to, again, spend time figuring out roughly the right place. And then I have to flip that. And I have to do the layer. Oops. I have to do flip horizontal. And for that, flip vertical, I think. So it reads backwards. The other way around. I can't quite work out where I am on there, but there we go. I'll put the lettering in there. There we go. So click on yes for that. Now I can save that. I'm going to save those files and we'll load it up and explain and we'll see it looks. And there we have it. And that's the repaint you saw at the start of the video. So again, that's pretty rushed, but that's a very quick way to have a completely whizzy looking paint job. As you can see, we managed to map over the engines, mapped over the wings. I will say that I still think Photoshop quickly does a better job. And again, I forgot the nose cone. Does a better job at selecting the different panels to repaint than Gimp. But like I've got a version of Photoshop from years ago that I bought way back when I thought I was able to do photo editing and all the rest of it, and I realized that that was a lot of money and I didn't have any talent. So I have that version. I think it's for like CS5 way back when. But if you have access to Photoshop, then I do think it makes a slightly easier job of this. But Gimp seems to be pretty capable too. So let me know about your repaints if you've managed to do one now. And I hope this has maybe inspired you to give it a go. I'd never done it until a couple of weeks ago. And a bit of hacking around. You know what? It's not that bad. Give it a go. You know, I don't know if there's a way you can share your photos with me if you do your repaints, or if you've got videos of your repaints. I'd love to see yours. So thanks for watching, and if you do like my channel, as I always say every time, don't forget to subscribe or like the video. Let me know what you think. But it really does motivate me to keep going and making videos. But I hope you've had a great time watching this. I've enjoyed doing my super rush job, doing 2 paint jobs. And I hope it's inspired you to go and do something new on Xplane. So I shall see you again soon, and thanks for watching.